In compliance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, entitled Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as specified in the Act. Proper notice of this public meeting was provided in a notice of January 5th, 2017. Said notice was posted at the entrance of the Board of Education offices, mailed to the Nutley Township Clerk, advertised in the Nutley Sun and Star Ledger on January 12, 2017, posted on the district website. This is an official meeting. Please rise for this flag salute, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Booth.
Mr. Balsamo?
Here.
Mrs. Beatrice Martin?
Here.
Mr. Ferrara? Mr. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Here.
Ms. Russo?
Here.
Mr. Scalera? Ms. Sherman?
Here.
Mr. Marcella?
Here. Do we have an approval of the minutes, please? Wait to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any correspondence there?
No.
All right, so we're going to move over to our spring athletics awards. We're going to turn it over to Mr. Pyro.
Thank you, Mr. Marcella, Dr. Fraser, members of the board. As always, the athletic department appreciates all your support and all your help. We had some great individual successes this year in the spring, and we are going to honor them tonight. So we'll start off, I'll be telling you, come on, I'll be right there. Our boys tennis team, we have a couple of, now our boys tennis team, tennis in the SEC in Essex County is probably one of the toughest conferences in the state of New Jersey, and we always represent well, and so do some of these young men. So second team in the Liberty Division is Jonathan Law. Jonathan here tonight. Andre Benitez. Is Andre here tonight? And also Dhruv Patel. Is Dhruv here? When you get 3 or 4 kids on that team and that division, that's a pretty good honor. Representing boys lacrosse, Christian Pesci. Is Christian here? Stay right there. Let me get a picture. Also representing boys lacrosse, honorable mention, Liberty Division, John Matrone. Representing our golf team, Joey DePasquale. J.O. DePula. Is J.O. here? Dominic Pomponio, first team in the Liberty Division. Also on the first team in the Liberty Division, Mikey Purcell. Representing our softball program, and Coach Zool is actually here tonight, so we'll call Coach Zool up to help hand some of these out.
One sec. Gotta hand off my camera.
In the American Division, which again is probably one of the most competitive softball divisions in the state. I mean, just to tell you how competitive it is, Cedar Grove won their group championship and was 2 games away from being the overall tournament champions winner. They went 7-5 in the American division and ran the table. That's how difficult it is. Courtney Wild, second team in the American division. Also, second team in the American division, Samantha Echeverry. Also, second team in the American division, Sydney Coons. Honorable mention in the American division, Alexa Hergenhan. And hold on one more, Lauren Hogan, honorable mention American division. Lauren. Representing our baseball program in the American division, second team, Josh O'Neill. Josh here. Also representing the American division, Sean Bernardo. Pete Lopez. Is Pete here? Last but certainly not least for baseball, first team the American division, but before I presented to this, he was also second team in basketball, and we made a mistake and inadvertently left him off the list. So tonight he's going to get his basketball certificate and his baseball certificate, and he was a really good sport about it, and I appreciate that, but again, this was my mistake in the office, so I'm doing the best I can to make it right to feature him tonight. So baseball and basketball in the first team American division and second team Independence division, Marty Higgins. Representing our spring track team. Now, our spring track team has 17 representatives on the all-conference team. Unfortunately, the conference made a mistake and did not order their certificates in time for the end of the season meeting, which was only about 4 or 5 days ago. So we're going to call those individuals up, we're going to honor them, we're going to take a picture, and then we will send them their certificates when the conference sends them to us, probably a week or so. All right? Mr. Ryan, our track coach, why don't you do that? Or you can explain the different things.
Okay, I'll just get into it because I know you guys have a lot of other things going on.
This is more important.
Well, the boys and girls track team compete in the SEC Liberty Division. You know it's not the American like we run in cross country. It still is highly competitive. The boys were able to finish 5-3. The girls finished 7-1. So we had a very successful season from that standpoint. We had many medalists, obviously, at the conference championship meet. And also at the county and state level as well. So without further ado, first team All SEC Liberty, Matt Silva in the 800 meters. Jimmy Quinn was named first team All Quinn in the first team All Conference in the 1600 and 3200 meter run. He won both events at the conference championship meet, but right now he's at Boise State, so he's not here. We can clap for him anyway. We do have our lone present representative for first team is Jayla Small with girls long jump. Second team All Conference, Paul Echeverria. In the 3200 meters, Julia Yang in the girls pole vault. Hannah Simsuk in the high jump, second team all conference. Gerard DeMaguia made it in the 800 meter run as well as the 4x400 meter relay. Silver Susatan was in the boys high jump, second team all conference. Matt Silva, in addition to being first team all conference in the 800 meters, he was first team all conference in the 4x400 meter relay. Also, Sean McDonald, second team all conference in the 4x400 meter. And Karen Goldberg, second team all conference. Honorable mention went to Nick Duca in the 1600 meter run, John McAloon in the javelin throw, Olivia DeFleury in the javelin throw, and Amanda Zhang in the 1600 meter run.
Let's get together for a picture.
Take a name.
Get some of those ones, that way we can hold them up for pictures. That's all, you can hold them up.
Just cover baseball.
Perfect, everybody look here.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan, again. Congratulations to all of our award winners tonight. We have completed yet another successful year. Nutley High School Athletic Department, but we could not do that without the help of some of the best coaches in the state of New Jersey, some great parents, a phenomenal board, an excellent superintendent, assistant superintendents, and a business administrator that really rolls out the red carpet for the athletic department. So the team concept within the Raider Nation on the front lines is just as successful and as important in the back of the house as well, and I thank them all for that.
Okay, so this is the point in the meeting where we ask all the parents and athletes if they would like to leave. Now would be the appropriate 30 seconds window for them to leave.
Okay. That's right. Here.
Okay, next up, we're going to have Dr. Julie Blazer doing a presentation on our merit goals.
It's not just miracles, it's all of our goals.
Sorry,
District
not just the
goals,
merit goals.
board
I'm going to take merit out and just replace it with just goals, all goals. Take it away, Dr. Blazer.
Goals and goals and more goals. Did you find it again? Should be open on the. There you go. I don't have a clicker there. You can leave that for now. Hold on, now I have to find a place to stand where I can read it. All right. So, board, district, and superintendent miracles. You probably don't remember, but at one of our first meetings back in September, we came to you after the board retreat and shared with you our board and district goals for this school year. We also, at that time, the Board of Education set goals for me. That's what happens at the retreat. Those all have to be approved by our executive county superintendent. Those of you that know Mr. Zara know that he is the Essex County superintendent. Because of his previous role, he is not allowed to approve ours. We have the pleasure of Passaic County superintendent. So when you hear me talk about the executive county superintendent, it is that gentleman who approves for us. So as we get ready for our next board retreat, I can't believe it's already been a year, and that we're going to do that Monday night, June 26th, here in the middle school in the media center. Thank you very much. And get ready to set the next goals for the next year. We wanted to take a couple of minutes and share the outcomes from this year, to look at some of the highlights and look at what we've achieved. And during my first year as superintendent. As we go through this, I think you will be as proud as I am of all that we've accomplished and all that we've achieved. So, maybe it'll go. Maybe not. No battery. You could just be on click duty. Click duty's a good thing. So the first thing that we have are our district goals that the board set all together. There are 3: student achievement, culture and climate, facilities and finance. And under those goals, because these are our district goals, they're more general than the board goals. We spent a lot of time looking at curriculum, improving student performance. We looked at our culture and climate in the district, not just for students, but also for staff, and looking at new and different ways to measure culture and climate. We also looked at facilities and finance, and I think that one you've heard us talk about an awful lot during the course of this year. And finally, with our district goals, we agreed that everything that we did this year had to have a fine point on communications. Improving communication between the district and the community was going to be part of each of the district goals. So, as I said, with all of the goals that we're talking about tonight, it took the input of many, many people over the course of the whole year to accomplish. That kind of collaboration has truly allowed us to become a team, and I think that part of the reason we were able to accomplish so very much is because of the involvement and engagement of each individual. So first and foremost, student achievement. We have continued to implement the curriculum review process and have been able to take a closer look at world language, thanks to the leadership of Mr. Materia, Dr. Ruggiero, and their teams. We were able to look at social studies, thanks to Mr. Odell and his teachers, the gifted and talented programming, thanks to Marianne Woods-Murphy, and we were able to embark on the program review and curriculum redesign of English language arts, thanks to Mrs. Benavides and her team of teacher leaders that span grades K to 12. Additionally, we have been able to have in-depth professional learning opportunities to support each of these initiatives, and that does include programming led by Leanne Martin in math, integrated technology led by Mr. Levine and his team. I would tell you that a lot of attention has gone into the implementation of the rotating drop schedule for the fall, and I finally got it right, you're welcome. And upgrading our curricular offerings at the high school, particularly in the career and technology area. And I would have to say that I would be remiss, not just remiss, but it would be a bold oversight if I didn't recognize Janine Loconsolo, who couldn't be with us tonight, and Ken Benya, our directors of curriculum, for their incredible efforts this year. Honestly, they have had a hand in each of these initiatives and have been guiding the goal setting that we've been doing for next year at the building and department level. So for them, this has been a huge lift, and I cannot tell you how fortunate that I feel to have both of them be a part of a team. So thank you, and Janine on camera. Culture and climate has required, I would say, some changes to the way that we do business. Mr. Capello, who you'll hear from at the July meeting for his annual HIB report, and Mrs. Casilli have really led the charge on the HIV front, training staff and working with students. Additionally, Ms. Mitchow at the elementary level has been doing a wonderful job of teaching about diversity. And we've also been able to implement surveys of students, of staff, of parents on a whole variety of topics. We started doing focus groups, town halls, and as a district, I think that we have spent a lot of time to create a positive community. by staying focused and continuing the momentum that was started before me. I begun, I guess, 5 years ago with the strategic plan. As a complete district, we've continued to grow. And the third goal, the facilities and finance goal, as I said, I think it's clear now how we've been working on this goal. Our revised 5-year facility plan was recently approved by the state, and we're waiting to hear on the plans for the proposed construction with the goal of moving forward with the referendum that you've had so much communication about. And on that note, I would like to also acknowledge Karen Greco, our Director of Communications. I'm sure a lot of you probably still don't fully understand the depth of her role, but she's also been involved in every single aspect of these 3 goals. Every presentation, every Facebook post, every town hall, every district event includes her fingerprint. And I'm going to just say, Karen, I think you're doing a masterful job. Thank you, coordinating all of those communication efforts. So also, many thanks to you. If you could just click, Sir Clicker. The next thing are our Board of Education goals. The Board of Education goals are specific to this group of people that you see every meeting in the room, working with me, working with Karen Yemens. And I would say the exciting thing to me about the Board of Education goals is that they've also really continued their momentum. I will go into detail on each of the goals when I start to talk about those merit goals, but again, this is a chance that I have to really commend the board for their tremendous volunteer effort. You guys truly have worked diligently as a team to pursue each one of those goals, but also to empower me and to enhance each and every aspect of the district. Next week, when we come to our board retreat, and that retreat's going to be facilitated by the New Jersey School Boards Association, we're going to continue this work, start the process of setting our goals for the next school year. And I would like to say, I know a lot of people left with the athletes, but I'm going to say as a community, we should not only applaud the long hours and the tremendous effort that these people put into the district and the community, but truly the effort to continue to make Nutley a school district that we're all proud of. So I'm going to just take this one. So those are our Board of Education goals for this year. And again, they do tie into the superintendent goals. Go ahead. So with the superintendent goals, it does work a little bit differently. In education, Governor Christie back in 2010 set an opportunity for merit goals that are set yearly. That's done by the Board of Education, and like I said, it has to be approved by the Executive County Superintendent. The boards are allowed to expect up to 5 goals from the superintendent. And the State Department of Education, who actually sets the guidelines for what these goals are. There can be up to 3 quantitative goals and 2 qualitative goals. So each of those are measurable with specific data, and they have to lead to specific outcomes. So with each quantitative goal, they have a more measurable data set. They're weighted heavier than the qualitative goals. So each quantitative goal is worth 3.3%. Each qualitative goal is worth 2.5%. And there is a maximum of 14.9% of total available out of these merit goals. So the first goal was a quantitative goal. And that goal the board set for me was to really stabilize the district leadership. When I came, not only did the superintendent just leave, but the assistant superintendent. We had openings for a principal at Yanakaw, which caused an opening for a vice principal at the high school. We had the 2 director of curriculum positions, which caused an opening for a coordinator of science position, and we did have the director of communications position. So overall, 7 positions that needed to be filled and recommended. Along those lines, we were able to look at the job descriptions, able to streamline and eliminate a lot of overlapping responsibilities and duties. And it also took a lot of professional learning. Not all of the people that filled these roles were experienced administrators, although all of them were obviously leaders. And we did spend some time to build capacity through professional development during our administrative roundtable meetings and cabinet meetings. If you go ahead, Ian, we can talk about the evidence. So we have been able to hire Mr. Francia in the Yanacott position, Mr. Materia in the high school position, Dr. Ruggiero in the world language position. I think you know, Janine Loconsolo, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, Pre-K to 5, and Ken Banya, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment 6 to 12, Karen Greco, our Director of Communications, and Carly Johnson, our Science Coordinator. Beyond that hiring, we were able to take our organizational chart because we don't have an assistant superintendent. Some of the reporting lines look a little bit differently. We have the coordinators really reporting to the directors, the principals still reporting to me. We did also revise and change some roles and responsibilities between the Director of Technology and the Director of Communications. The Director of Fine Performing and Practical Arts was now a combined position. So all of those have also changed. We've also spent a lot of time on professional development, not just around the positions, but to have those clear lines of reporting and supervision, and to be really clear about the outcomes that we expect. As a team, we also started last August with a retreat. We developed norms that we worked by, vision and goal statements to guide our work as a team, and we've continued to meet twice monthly as a whole group, as well as the principals meeting weekly and the coordinators meeting twice a month. So all of those things have worked to continue to also strengthen the strategic plan. We are in the 5th year of that plan. We are coming to the end of the first strategic planning phase. You're going to hear the presentation on the strategic plan at the July board meeting. At that meeting, we have invited Mr. Lazovic and, can't think of her last name, all of a sudden, Gina Villani. Thank you, Ms. Villani. Although they both have board meetings the same night and are not able to join us, we invited Dr. Librera, who led the planning of the first strategic plan, and we are looking forward to him working with us as we go forward in the next strategic plan. All right, goal 2. The second goal was really looking at our supervision and evaluation as it works through the Danielson model. Danielson is the model that we use to evaluate our instructional staff, our teaching staff, and the framework that's in place was adopted by the district years ago. The tool, though, that we used has been incredibly cumbersome. It is a tool that required cutting and pasting and copying and scanning and evidence and reflections and what have you. Difficult for the observer, difficult for the observee. We spent a tremendous amount of time this year looking at that framework, looking at what a definition of evidence meant, looking at what a definition of reflection meant, and really streamlining not only the process and the schedule and the calendar, but helping staff understand about reflection, helping our leadership team understand about feedback and provide that feedback, and most importantly, looking at ways to make the process more meaningful and productive and not just about the paperwork aspects. And if you click, we'll do the evidence. So we committed to all certificated administrators being provided with that professional development and looking at a system where we normed our evaluation, where everybody was looking for the same things, the same look-fors, and that you would have the same outcomes. If 2 people went into a room, if 4 people went into the room, you could be sure that we were all looking at the same kind of best practices, looking at the same kinds of things. We also talked about data. We spent a lot of time using our Performance Matter tools as an administrative team, looking at it with our media specialists and how to best use that data with the evaluation tool to get the outcomes that we were looking for, which is always highly effective teachers. One of the things that we also did was look at a number of online tools to help share that data, further streamline the process. We did identify one tool in particular called OnCourse that a team of teachers and administrators did pilot this spring with the third round of evaluations. That is the tool that we are going to be adopting for next year. And the first training on that for the administrative team is next week, and for the teachers in September. We want to make sure that 100% of the staff is trained and feels as comfortable as our pilot team feels with that, and that they will be able to use the reflections, those self-assessments and artifacts in a way that's meaningful, in a way that pushes the practice forward instead of just a regurgitation or a brain dump of, whatever we're thinking that day. We also committed to making sure that everyone would be evaluated, not just those people that need to be for compliance. And I'm going to say, in this case too, I have more people to recognize. This process was really reflective. It's been a powerful opportunity starting from the beginning of the year. The performance matters pieces. Mr. Carney took the reins and started with a group of strategies teachers to look at that. Mr. Levine worked with the media specialists to train them. I'm going to tell you that our association, our educational association, has spent a tremendous amount of time looking at the tool, looking at reflection, how it's going to be meaningful for staff, how we can really make sure that the professional learning around evaluation is doing what it's supposed to do, and that's to boost up our staff, to be able to coach our staff to highly effective staff. Go ahead. Goal number 3 is an interesting one for me. We did a lot of work around this goal, again, in close collaboration with EAN, and while we did require the review and we went through all the pieces of it, we actually determined, in fact, that with very few exceptions, this isn't an issue for the district as a whole. For the district as a whole, we have people that are paying attention to not being tardy, to being here and not using sick days, to being here and committed to their students and working to the best of their ability every day. If you go to the evidence meeting, we did look at the number of percent of absences at the school level, at the district level, and for individuals. The number on its face seems like a lot, but we have a lot of employees. When you compare that with previous years, when you compare it with this year, it's actually fairly stable. One of the things that people were concerned about in our teaching contract, there's a provision that if you are absent, if you're tardy 8 times, the 9th time, that you are docked a half a day's salary. So having that in the contract might lead you to believe that that's an issue for us, that we have a number of people that that's an issue for. And in fact, we found that that's not the case. For those individuals where it is, we've been able to do individual action plans. And again, for the rest of the staff, we found that that's not the issue. We did review the personal day use policies. That was a bigger issue. People are entitled to 3 or 5 days of personal time, depending on how long they've been in the district and their tenure. And very often those days were not used to their intent. We have changed the policy so that you do not take a personal day on a professional development day, so that that time is kept meaningful for you. We don't allow you to string 5 days together to take a longer vacation or to add them to existing vacation time. And I say that knowing that things come up, right? You got a wedding in Hawaii, you're not going to be able to do that in a long weekend. And so we did put in a procedure for people to be able to request that time, to be able to make sure that for those special occasions we were able to accommodate them if they had the days. The other thing that we did look at that Nutley has been a leader in is the paternity leave. We have a number of fathers who would like to take their personal time and their FMLA time to be with their new child. And we've been able to do that this year for those fathers that have been interested in doing that. We also reviewed our insurance providers, employee assistance programs, not just around tardiness and absenteeism, which was the original goal as it was set back in August and September, but for a broad range of services. You know, staff experiences stress and illness in a lot of ways. They have a number of things that affect them, family issues, other issues that affect them. And in reviewing the insurance providers' opportunities, I think that we've also been able to identify other options for our staff. We also, as a district, said if this was an issue, we would develop a corrective action plan, put that in place, because we are going into negotiations with our teaching staff for next year. And as I said, we found that that's really not a place where we need to focus energy. We have a staff that is working professionally and a staff that is not taking advantage of the additional time that's allotted to them. This is the first qualitative goal. This one actually came about through my entry plan. I don't know if you remember, but when I first was hired back in April and May and June, even before I started, I met with a number of stakeholders, teachers, parents, community members, students, and I asked the same three questions over and over again. What's the best thing about Nutley? Something that you would never change? Something that you think we need to look at and maybe work on? And how can I support you from my post here in the central office? And over again, the theme seemed to be communication. How can we improve communication with the community, trust between the superintendent and the board? How can we increase communications with all of our stakeholders and create a transparency throughout the community? And to that end, I was charged with developing a communication plan, looking at how we can do ongoing district information and enhance community relations. So we said that we were going to drive people to our website, that we were going to make our website a resource for the parents and community members. We've done that, but we've also found that our website might not necessarily meet our needs, and that maybe that's an area we need to look to in the future to be able to enhance. We've not only used email, but Twitter and Facebook, and the district website to send out the most up-to-date and accurate sources of information to the community to make sure that we could reach everybody right away. I'm going to say this goal was not identified by me in the entry plan. It was actually first identified through the district's strategic plan as a goal. And again, another area where the district has made tremendous progress. So in addition to the daily efforts that I mentioned from Karen, I also want to recognize Mr. Kelly, who's here, his students who are here, because they really helped us change again how we deliver information together. I know with myself, we did our Know Your Schools video series. I think that we're hoping to continue that going forward. We're currently working on a video about the referendum. And again, it's that kind of collaboration that's allowed us to be more effective, more transparent, and more available to the community. We do weekend review every week. Karen sends that out to all stakeholders. And I want to highlight that this week will be this Thursday, somewhere in there, is going to be the first week that the Week in Review is going to come out as a digital newsletter of sorts. It will have pictures and links, so we finally have been able to move that to a place where that will be more meaningful for all community members. We have done at least 3 community conversations, at least 3, with me as well as the town hall meetings, and I hope you've all seen me at least 1 community event or city meeting somewhere, sometime over the last couple of years. The board brief posted prior to the board meetings, we've actually just had an issue with that over the last few weeks. Madeline and I have struggled mightily over the last 2 weeks, but I do think we finally have gotten to a place where we're on the same page. So that is the qualitative goal number 1, right? And I think I hit all of those. So this is our final goal And the final one was to facilitate with the board developing, maintaining a written online board policy manual. Working with me and the board to make recommendations for changes. And those changes come in a three-pronged format. Changes due to state and federal statutes or regulations or court decisions, things that are maybe driven locally, local board decisions or local things that we need to take care of, as well as new programs that require their own policy. We worked with the New Jersey School Boards Association and Strauss-Esme. And again, we've, as we get the updates from them and revisions, we've developed a timeline for review, how to do the first and second readings, how we're going to have those policies updated and approved. And our overall goal is to be able to review those by next November so that we are aligned with the Quality Single Accountability Continuum. We all call it QSAC, if you're more familiar with that, so that we are up to date with the school laws. This is definitely a case of last but not least. I was pretty excited when we voted to reconvene the policy committee. Not only is it a necessary thing for compliance, but it's the primary goal of a Board of Education to oversee policy, and this board in particular really has made it a priority to make it a difference. I'm not sure if you're aware, if you've ever noticed on the district website or if you've ever gotten a policy update, but there are hundreds of policies that govern each area of the district, from administration to operations to personnel to programming, and each of those provides the underpinning for our decision making. So this isn't the fun work, I have to be honest with you. This isn't the fun work of being with students or going to the programs. This is the actual nitty-gritty grunt work, the detail work that no one sees and doesn't necessarily get appreciated, but is probably the most important thing that we do. So again, I'm going to thank the board for recognizing the importance of having a committee to do that, and Brenda Sherman in particular for taking the initiative to attend the trainings and the workshops that are available from Strauss-Esme and from school boards to help her better understand the expectations, and to Karen Yemens and John Mamora, Kent and Janine, Lindsay Council, Julie Alessio, Mackie Mayer, because they've all had to take on a leadership role to be able to collaborate on whatever revisions and updates and policies there are. We've gotten to a place where we've been able to divide the policies on what the board's going to review, what we're going to review through programming, working with the principals, the coordinators, Kent and Janine, Karen, again, Lindsay and Julie, over the next series of months to be able to come to that end point. We've been able to give Karen and John a stack of their own to be able to go through, and that kind of, again, collaboration really is going to allow us, like I said, I think to move from compliance, which is never the goal, to really achieving something that's special for Nutley. So those are our 5 goals. I am happy to answer questions for the board, first of all, and then from the community. I don't know where we want to start, but maybe with the lights. I'm trying to switch around. I know, I said, board member questions first?
Yeah, we're going to open up to the board members. Anyone would like to comment, question, anything for Mr. Blazer?
That's
Dr.
okay.
Blazer, sorry.
That's okay.
It's been that kind of day.
No kidding.
And if anybody in the public, questions, comments, please come forward to the mic.
No? We get another opportunity out here to shut up the gas. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Blazer.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a break and have Mrs. Yemens do her report first? And then you come in behind her? You're up next.
I'm up again?
You are up again.
Mine's easy, actually.
Okay.
I will say that the next thing that I have is battery needs him to stay right there.
I'll bring the
You bring the roses. So we, along with all of the other things that we've been fortunate as a board to have this year, is to have a student representative be a part of our Board of Education. And I'm going to tell you, been on a lot of boards. I I don't know if you've been on a lot of boards, but I'm guessing you've seen a lot of student reps, and so have I. I've been in 5 districts. And I'm going to tell you that I have never had a student rep who showed up not only to every single meeting, but showed up ready to give a report, ready to jump in and work on curriculum and to make a presentation. And not only that, but when I'm out in the community, when the board's out in the community, we see you there. I saw you at robotics and at the Women's Achievers and at Valentine's Day at the Senior Citizens and at music. I think I've seen you everywhere. You're everywhere, you're everywhere. You're like underdog. And that is more than we could hope for, number one. And something so special that I hope that we'll be able to capture with whatever representative follows you. We couldn't be more proud to send you off to school, and I think it makes it a little easier, because you know me, I'm a crier. Only that I know that you're coming back. I know that you're going to work with us on curriculum and robotics, and you're going to present with me. Katarina's presenting with me at Princeton the first week in August. So, you know, we know we're going to continue to have those opportunities, so I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to tell you good luck, not see you later, but this is a small gift from the board to get you ready for yours. Danny has something for you.
There you go. This is from all of us at the board.
Now you can feel like this.
I'm going to open it up to the whole board to make any comments that they'd like to make. I'm just going to tell you, Katarina, that whoever comes into your shoes, you're going to have some pretty shoes to fill. Your parents have done an amazing job. You are going to be just great. And I hope that we all have the opportunity to continue to see as you grow into your next stage, because I think it's going to be something wonderfully amazing. And I'm so glad that you were part of this.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to say something.
Absolutely.
Again, it's been a pleasure working with you. I was fortunate enough to work with your father when he wasn't a lot older than you, I don't think, or it doesn't seem like it anyway. And I'm so proud of him and so proud of you and the job, and you represent Nutley the way we all can be proud of. Thank you for the hard work that you've done for us.
Thank you. I would like to say something as well. It's a pleasure to see a fellow classmate's daughter serve on the board. Your energy, your intelligence is just a wonderful example, the exact example we would like for all of the children in this district, students in this district. So thank you so much for bringing that to the table. And I wish you the best of luck, although I'll miss you, but I wish you luck in your next journey.
All right. So are you gonna step in for your superintendent report?
That was my report.
What more do you need to say?
And there you go.
That was it. We have in K work short, we have kindergarten graduations tomorrow, middle school graduations Wednesday, high school graduation Thursday, our ESY and Let's Learn and extended day programs start next week. We don't take a break. So the learning keeps happening, and we'll look forward to either seeing you at the board retreat on Monday or at the July board meeting to find out what happens next.
Perfect, thank you, Dr. Glazer. We're going to move it over to Mrs. Yanes for our board secretary report.
Thank you. My report is also going to be rather short because the 49 resolutions that we have under the finance section this evening kind of speak for themselves. They are a myriad of contract renewals for the various programs, software, things, as Dr. Glazer mentioned, Performance Matters, On-Course, Real-Time, our student information system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you very much to Mrs. Kukuza, who worked till almost the 11th hour this evening to get this agenda put together. Resolutions were coming in left and right today, even after we had our finance committee meeting last week. I think we had about 28, and we ended up with about 49 in a matter of a week. We're also in the process of scheduling some summer projects, which will be discussed in the finance committee report. Trying to work around all the various programs we have going on this summer in several of our buildings, which makes it a little challenging, but we will get everything done and have the buildings ready to be opened in September. I had the pleasure last week, along with Dr. Glazer and Ms. Council, of presenting to the Coaches Academy. We had every coach sitting in the room, and it was a great dialogue back and forth, and it was a great opportunity for them to have an understanding of the board's input in terms of the budget that is allotted to our athletic program, understanding where the money goes, how we go about purchasing, and getting some feedback from them regarding our facilities. And I left the meeting asking them for their input because they live and breathe those facilities each and every day with our students. And we are looking to extend our long-range plan to include things that need to be done in that area as well. So I think it was a good opportunity for input on both sides. And I thank Mr. Pyro for inviting me and for that opportunity last week.
Thank you, Mr. Yeomans. So back to our final report, apparently. You better make it good because all the other ones were.
So some past events, Tuesday was a scholarship and award ceremony for our seniors, which is really good. It's an awesome thing that Nutley offers. They give us a list of tons of scholarships that we can apply to. And that's really important because college is expensive, and the people who take advantage of that, it's good. It's good for our students, so that was really cool. And this past week were final exams, so we're essentially done. So I just want to say thank you so much for the experience on this board. It's been my pleasure I've learned a lot, and it just helped me grow a lot as a person, as a student and everything, and I feel ready to take on college and all that. And I think the effort that this board makes for the students and for the community is big, and it's a huge responsibility, and it's awesome the way you guys take it and all that. And the communication, I think, just to add a note on that, is super important, which is the reason why I wanted to join in the first place. I felt like the communication between the board and just essentially the administration with the students was lacking a little bit, and I feel more comfortable that more groups are being formed to talk to them and all that, and I just want to encourage to please keep reaching out to students. They're hard to get to. I know that because I was class president for 3 years, and it was hard to get to them being in the building every single day. So it was just keep reaching out, and I also want to encourage to reach out to the teachers too. So the staff as well. Sometimes I feel like if I were in their shoes as a staff, I would feel a little nervous to talk to people about maybe some ideas and stuff like that. So just make sure everyone has open arms for everyone who wants to come and talk. And I think that's very important. And I want to say that I feel the district is going in the right direction with computer science and the new classes, and I want to keep encouraging that because that's how we build our students and that's how we become better. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Robles. All right, we're going to move on to our committee reports. We're going to start off with the academic report. Mr. Balsamo.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Academic Committee met on June 14th at 6 o'clock. Myself, Ms. Sherman, Mrs. Danchak-Martin were there with Dr. Glazer, Mr. Banyan, and Ms. Loconsolo. Mr. Banyan reviewed updates to the middle school course of study. This is a living document, and we can expect to see it earlier next year as the middle school program continues to evolve. Dr. Glazer reviewed the ESL bilingual 3-year plan that is to be submitted for state approval. This plan details the academic program and the necessary waivers we put in place for our English language learning students. It is on the agenda for approval this evening. Mr. Banyan also shared the rotating drop schedule to be implemented at the high school in the fall. This is the first piece to the students' master schedule. Mr. Banyan introduced a new program, Tomorrow's Teacher, that was developed in partnership with TCNJ, Kean University, and the NJEA. It provides students the opportunity for college credit in conjunction with our student internship program under the Option 2 policy. Our students would receive their credit from Kean. The program is described as a self-directed, experiential learning contract, offering real-world experience and the opportunity for students to design their own learning experiences. Ms. Loconsolo, Mr. Banyan, and Dr. Glazer reviewed requests for professional learning days, field trips, and out-of-state travel. Dr. Glazer then reviewed tonight's goals presentation, gave a brief overview of the board retreat and board self-assessment, as well as the process for the superintendent evaluation. Finally, Dr. Glazer also provided updates on legal and personnel issues, including several amendments to Ms. Greco's, Mr. Banya's, and Ms. Loconsolo's contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Balsamo. We're going to move over into administration. Mr. Kaczynski.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The administration committee met on June the 12th, myself, Danny Carnicella, and Dr. Glazer. The committee discussed the upcoming Board of Education retreat to be held Monday, June 26th at 6 p.m. in the Middle School Media Center. Charlene Peterson, consultant with the New Jersey School Boards, will be facilitating a review of our self-assessment as the board sets new board and district goals, and we will be providing ethics and confidential training. We will also be reviewing the superintendent's evaluation and Dr. Glazer's contract. Dr. Glazer reviewed the goal presentations for tonight's meeting and answered questions regarding the status of each goal. Dr. Glazer also reviewed several legal and personnel items. Our next administration meeting will be on July 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Kaczynski. We're going to move over to finance. Mr. Klein? Duke it out. Rock, paper, scissors.
This doesn't have the word experiences in as much as.
Okay, 4 points were discussed. First and foremost, Mr. Nicolette reviewed several facility projects, including the high school door locks, curb replacement, and flooring in the high school guidance and special services suites. He also reported on new projects taking place this summer, including replacement of Lincoln School front steps, repair to the high school bathrooms, locker room floor resurfacing, and installation of new lockers in the boys' gym. The finance resolutions for tonight were discussed. Dr. Glazer reviewed her merit goals that we just reviewed, and the committee discussed the year-end financial projections, deposits to capital and maintenance reserves, and funding for the new band uniforms, PTO donations, and instructional resources for next year. And that meeting was held June 13th. Myself, Mr. Ferraro, Ms. Russo, who was not allowed to speak, and Dana Carnicella were there, as well as Karen Yamens, Dr. Glazer, Phil Nicolette, and John Ramora.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Okay, we now come to the portion of our meeting where we allow members of the public to address the board. In this section, we allow questions or comments on only the resolutions addressed in tonight's agenda. Our board regulation 601 allots 20 minutes for these communications. Each person shall be limited to 3 minutes, as we ask you to try to stay within this requirement. Speakers may speak more than once only after others wishing to speak on a topic have been heard. All statements will be directed to me as the chairperson, and no one may address the board individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember to always state your name and address each and every time you address the board, and sign in with Mrs. Kukuza before you take the microphone. Will the first person please step forward and tell us what he would like to say? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Balsamo, would you take academic resolutions, please?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move academic resolutions 1 through 18 as written.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Kukuza?
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Carnicella?
Yes. Mr. Kaczynski, would you take administration resolutions, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I move administration resolutions 1 through 4 as prepared.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Kukuza?
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Carnicella?
Yes. Mr. Klein, would you take finance resolutions, please?
Yes, Mr. President, I move finance resolutions 1 through 49 with an amendment to resolution 6, professional appointments for 17-18 year, where the board counsel, Shank Price, Smith, and King LLP will be tabled.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Kukuza?
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin? Yes. Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes. And Ms. Dancheck Martin, would you take personnel resolutions, please?
Yes, Mr. President. I would like to move personnel resolutions 1 and 2 as written. Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Kapoor.
Mr. Balsamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes. Ms. Dancheck Martin, would you just read the testimonial for the non-professional aid, please?
Oh, okay.
Whereas Mrs. Beverly Sangiovanni has tendered her resignation as non-instructional aide effective June 30th, 2017, and has signified her intention of retiring from active service, and whereas Ms. Sangiovanni has worked in the Nutley Public Schools for a period of 27 years, and whereas through the years Ms. Sangiovanni has exemplified the finest qualities of the non-instructional aide position at all times. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education expresses to Ms. Sangiovanni its deepest appreciation for her long and faithful service and extends to her its best wishes for continued health and happiness, and be it further resolved that this resolution be made part of the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Dancheck Martin. Okay, in this section, we allow questions or comments on all school-related matters. Our regulation allows 30 minutes for these communications. Again, each person shall be limited to 3 minutes, as we ask you to try to stay within this requirement. As I stated earlier, all statements will be directed to me as the chairperson, and no one may address the board individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember to always state your name and address each and every time you address the board, and sign in with Ms. Capuzzo before you take the microphone. Will the first person please step forward wishing to be heard? Seeing none, any old business to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board? Whereas the Board of Education will be discussing matters exempt from public discussion pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education recess to close executive session at this time to discuss construction contracts and personnel. Be it further resolved that the results of this discussion will be made public by inclusion on the agenda of subsequent meeting of the Board of Education, or when their reasons for discussing such matters in closed session no longer exist. Formal action may be taken.
So moved.
Motion to go into closed. All in favor?